Hey there, my name is Megan and welcome to my channel, or welcome back. Today I'm going to be discussing 5 fantasy book series that I want to continue. So I just released a video talking about 5 fantasy book series that I wanted to finish, hopefully by the end of 2023. These are all series that I'm in the middle of and I'm really okay with not finishing them anytime soon. But before we go ahead and get on into the books, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new content. I post new bookish videos every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Also, check down in the description box below for more information about my Patreon and my Amazon shop, where I list all of the books, my favorite books that I talk about on my channel. The first series that I want to continue is Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. So I was on the fence for a long time if I even wanted to continue the series because I read book 6 and I struggled through it. And everyone tells me that I'm entering into like the sloggiest part of the series and to just push forward. And I actually have the entire series. I bought them all at the used bookstore years ago. And I've decided I am going to continue. Now, I don't really know when, but these books are also all available via audio from my library. I do find that audiobooking and reading these helps me get through them very quickly, and I don't feel like I'm just being dragged through this slow plot. So the next book that I need to read is book 7, which is A Crown of Swords. So not sure when I'm gonna get to it, but I do plan on continuing Wheel of Time, and I'm glad I finally made a decision to do so. Next, we have the Devabad Trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. I read the first book, City of Brass, several years ago, and it's a desert fantasy with Middle Eastern inspiration, and it follows a main character who accidentally summons a jinn, and she is whisked away from Cairo to Devabad, which is kind of this mysterious city that she does have ties to, and she learns about it. And I actually have a whole review for City of Brass. I'll link it up in the cards. I liked City of Brass. I did not love it. And this book was so hyped, or at least the series was so hyped, that I just went into it thinking I was going to like it more, and I didn't. And I think that's what's kept me from picking up the second book, and I don't own the third book. Luckily, this one I found used, so I did not pay full price for a hardback. But I do like desert fantasies. I do like Middle Eastern inspired fantasies. I found the romance okay. I just found the plot a bit recycled. Like, it's the same plot that you read about a lot of the time. And before I jump into Kingdom of Copper, I will have to do a refresh on what happened in City of Brass because it's been a while and I tend to forget details, but I do want to continue the series. Next, we have the Ravensmark Trilogy by Ed McDonald. I have books 1 and 2. I do not own book 3. I read Blackwing a couple of years ago and really, really loved it. I had never heard of this author before, never heard of the series before, and absolutely loved the first book. I will link the review up in the cards for y'all if you want to check it out. But this is a grimdark fantasy that is a little bit different than other things I've read. It takes place in this post-apocalyptic world, and we're following this bounty hunter. But essentially, there are these god-type beings that live in the sky. They're known as the Deep Kings, and there is this machine that keeps these gods at bay. But there's something wrong with the machine that's going to eventually allow the Deep Kings to come down and wage war on this world. And we're kind of following, the truth behind the malfunction of this machine. And there's just some, sketchy things that's going on. But what I really liked about this was the magic. I found the magic system to be really unique. It involves light and moonlight, which is something that I had never really read before. So I found the concept really unique. It's fast paced. The books for a fantasy series are fairly short. And I feel like if you like grimdark, if you like that just like overarching dark world, that Mad Max type feel world, then you would like this series. And I'm gushing over it right now, so I really need to read the second book. Then I need to continue the Song of the Shattered Sands trilogy series by Bradley Ballou. I never know how to pronounce his name correctly. I think there's 5 books in this series, and I only read the first one, which is 12 Kings of Sharakai. So I'll link that up in the cards for you as well. That was definitely one of my favorite books that I read that year, so I really enjoyed it, and I don't know why I haven't continued the series, but I ended up getting this book for like $5 off of Book Outlet. In this series, we're following a girl named Seda, and she lives in this world. It's also a desert fantasy inspired world. where it's ruled by these 12 kings. And these 12 kings are treated almost like gods, and they are oppressive. And Seda is like a pit fighter, like she fights for a living, and she finds out that she's somehow involved with these 12 kings and kind of what's going on in this world, and has to get close to them and finds a way to do that. And I also really liked the magic in this world. It wasn't very prevalent in the beginning, but as the book went on, we did learn more about the magic, and hopefully it will be more explained and expanded upon in the coming books. But I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people do not like this series. I enjoyed the first book, so I'm looking forward to continuing with it. And lastly, we have The Bone Ships by R.J. Barker. I've read this first book, and I have had The Call of the Bone Ships book 2 on my TBR a couple of times. I just have not gotten to it, but I do have a full review for this as well. I'll link it up in the cards. And I also included this book in my list of favorite maritime fantasy books, which I'll also link up in the cards for you. But I feel like there's not enough fantasy books that take place on the ocean or involve pirates. Or maybe there are and I just don't know about them. But I love maritime fantasy, so I'm always eager to read books that have sea settings. But in this world, we are following the bone ships, and these ships are made from dragon bones, and they're pretty much indestructible. And we are following a crew of essentially, I want to say, criminals, and they are sent on this ship, and that is their punishment, to run this ship, work this ship. And they are led by this woman named Mies, and she ends up taking them on this journey to find this dragon, because dragons used to be very prevalent in this world, but not so much anymore. And there's rumor of this dragon that exists, so they go on this expedition to find this dragon. And like I said, they're a bunch of criminals, so they really don't get along well together. She kind of has to whip this crew into shape. And we start to learn more about what is going on with this world and this dragon and why it's so important. So once again, I really enjoyed the first book in the series, and I'm excited to continue with books 2 and 3 at some point. Okay, you guys, those are 5 fantasy series that I really need to continue. I own at least the first couple books in the series, or I might not own the last book in the series, but I really enjoyed what I've read. Let me know in the comments which of these series I should prioritize, which ones you've read and really liked, and I will see y'all in another video soon.